Hello everybody, this is Gorgo 2005 welcoming you to my YouTube channel and also welcoming you to my instructional video on how to build a tournament team in Out of the Park Baseball. And I'm using Out of the Park Baseball 23, which is the current live version of the game. Now, there are, and I will give you this caveat, there are many different ways of building a tournament team. And mine is the one that has always worked the best for me, and that's the one I will be showcasing here in this instructional video to show you step by step the process that I go through to determine what cards I need, what team makeup I want, and all of the stuff associated with a tournament team build. For playing whatever type of tournament that you desire. So that brings me to point number one. The first thing you need to decide, if I can talk straight, I'd be halfway dangerous. The first thing you need to decide is what format of tournament you want to play. And that will help determine the makeup of the team that you're going to be going for. Now, myself, I prefer bronze tournaments and iron tournaments. The reason for that is, and these would be quick tournaments too, not the ones that are spaced out over several hours and that maybe occur only once per day or a little less frequently. I like to hit as many of the quick tournaments as I can in bronze or in iron. I currently have 3 teams in OOTP. With my single license, you're allowed to have up to 3 accounts. And my main account, the Finneytown Flames, has been using the bronze format. That means all bronze cards and below can be used to make up your tournament team in a bronze tournament. And my other 2 accounts use iron cards only, the lowest cards that are available in the game. So the reason that I go for the lower tier cards and trying to build my teams out of those cards is because lower tier cards are less expensive. They're much more easily and readily available on the card shop, and you can find them fairly easily on the open market. Now, there are some exceptions to that. Some special edition cards are very hard to get. Like the bronze version of Vladimir Guerrero, you would want to maybe think about picking that one up. The only problem is anybody that puts it up for sale is wanting a mint for it. But I've never seen one actually go up on the market except maybe once or twice, and they want a big chunk of perfect points to buy those cards or to sell those cards. And I don't recommend that card basically anyway. I've been doing just fine without it. So, excuse me, sorry about that, folks. Sorry about the interruption. But anyway, getting back to the point at hand. First thing you need to decide is what type of tournament you're going to be entering on a regular basis, and that will help you make up your mind on what type of team you need to put together. Now, the next thing I do is I start entering tournaments. You're liable, not knowing what you're doing, you just go ahead and throw together some cards that fit in the format that you're playing in. Throw together some cards, try them out, and you may want to put a little bit of intelligence into it. That is, if you have the OOTP smarts to know what cards would probably play the best for you. Myself, I like to look for cards that have a good hitting profile. That means higher contact than power. And I also like to see good defense for the level of cards that I'm playing. I like to see good defense. And for pitching cards, I like to see a blue number in perhaps 1 or 2 of the 3 different categories. Especially since I play bronze and iron cards, those cards are going to be kind of hard to find with 3 blue numbers in the pitching aspect. That would be the stuff, the movement, and the control. You're not going to find a bronze or an iron card with all 3 of those numbers in the blue. But you can find bronze cards with maybe 1 or 2 in the blue, or an iron card with maybe 1, possibly 2. I've never seen one this game cycle with a blue number that goes beyond 1. I've seen several iron cards with 1, but I haven't seen very many, if any at all, with 2. But they're fairly common to see in bronze. So, that having been said, and you have done your research, and you know what format you're going to do, and you have decided how you're going to go, or what you're going to do to put together an initial tournament team and start playing in tournaments, and start spamming those things. As soon as you get eliminated from a tournament, enter another one. Enter another one. If it's at all possible for you to do so. For me, I'm retired, so it's easy for me just to sit around and do nothing but spam quick tournaments all day long. Not all night long. I got to get some sleep sometime. This old stinker needs his rest. So, anywho, that's the first 2 steps we have down. Decide what tournaments you're going to do, and number 2, put together a team and start looking at entering tournaments. Now, the next step, examine those tournaments that you enter. Even if you get eliminated from them, you can still have a lot to learn from what takes place in that tournament. And here is how I do that examination. So let's go ahead and we will get into the game here. And you can see I'm already spamming. I'm on my main account, the Finneytown Flames, under my Gorgo 2005 account. And I'm spamming Ace of Bronze right now. And this tournament right here, this 1086, is the longest running tournament that I've currently got running. So we are going to take a look and see what's going on inside that tournament, because the last time I looked, I think I was ready to earn some packs. And I'll try to explain the format here. That Ace of Bronze is a 32-team quick tournament that uses best of 7 series to determine who moves on to the next round. And right now I am in a final, and I'm leading the final 1-0 over these Kentucky Colonels. So I had to get through round 1. I beat these Aztecs here 4-0. Took 4 straight games from them. I beat the Pilots 4-1. I beat the West Enders 4-0. So anything up to this point in a 32-team tournament, if you get this far and stop, you get nothing. Okay? If you make it to the semifinals, that's the promised land, because there you can start to earn some packs. The losers in the semifinals are assured of 3 standard packs in a best of 7 tournament like this. And if you make it to the finals, you are assured a minimum of 5 and possibly 10 packs. 5 packs if you lose and get second place in the tournament, and 10 packs if you win. Okay? So, I have my tournament simulation that just completed, so I'm going to see how game 2 works out for me here. I won game 1 up here 13-1, which was pretty handy. I looked pretty good there, so I'm hoping to go up 2-0 in this final. And before this video is done, maybe we can come back and take a look and see how things are looking. And yes, I am ahead 2-0 in this final. Now, here's another thing to bear in mind. Tournaments, any tournament, whether it's a perfect draft tournament, a quick tournament, a daily tournament, a weekly tournament, there is no home field advantage to be had. The only thing that is determined here is somebody who is a pseudo home team or somebody who is a pseudo away team. And why is that? Every single tournament game, regardless of the format, whether it's perfect draft, quick tournament, daily tournament, weekly, whatever, all those tournament games take place in the game's own perfect park, which is perfectly neutral, and there is no home field advantage. Like if you change your park factors to have a home field advantage in perfect team, that does not apply when it comes to tournaments. Tournaments are a different beast altogether. All the games are played in the perfect park that belongs to OOTP. They are hosting every single tournament game that ever was. So, with that having been said, the only thing that really makes a difference is who bats first and who bats second. In this particular case, I batted second in both of these first two games because I was supposedly the quote-unquote home team, but not really a home team. I just happened to bat last. And Kentucky Colonels got to be the visiting team. Now, look at down here. They get to be the pseudo home team, and they get to bat last, starting with the next sim. And sim standing for simulation. So they are going to be the team that bats last in the next two games. If we take a look at the schedule here, I'll show you what I have to look forward to. Okay, so I need to back up a little bit so you can see the first two games in the series. Right here, there's no @ before the team name that I'm playing, so I played these games at home, supposedly, pseudo home, but I won both those games batting last. Now, the next two games, I get to bat first against the Kentucky Colonels. And then game 5, I bat last again. Game 6, they bat last again. And then game 7, I get to bat last in the final game, if indeed it goes that far. So I try to eliminate the other team, and if I can get to 4 wins before they get to 4 wins, then I have won that round. And you can't go any further than the finals in this 32-team best-of-7 tournament. And what I mean by best-of-7 is whoever gets to 4 wins in a given series wins that series round. Okay, so that having been said, I think if I completed my thought, then you can't go any further than this. The winner is going to get 10 packs. The loser is going to get 5. So I know I'm going to get at least 5 packs out of this particular tournament. But I spam these things all day long as I'm awake. So let me see what the rest of this stuff looks like here. Because I've shown you some of the mechanics inside the tournament itself. Now, what I want to do next is show you how to get to past tournaments that you've participated in. And that is a fairly easy step to do. Go to Show Traditional Tournaments down here. And there's a tab up here called Your Tournaments. This will show you tournaments that you have entered, whether they be perfect drafts or quick tournaments or whatever type of tournaments you play are all going to be inside of here. But only the series of the most recent ones you have completed will be showing up here because they cycle out over time from this particular list. This list is finite. It can only hold so many tournaments that it can show you what you did and how you did and what your competition was. That's the key here, is finding out who the competition is when you're in a learning phase early on in building tournament teams, I should say. So we'll go into the Your Tournaments tab, and you can see, okay, it looks like I got some perfect drafts up here at the top of this list, and I have like what the most recent 8 tournaments that I've done. And then I see Ace of Bronze all the way from there to the very, very bottom of the list. And there's the 3 I've got currently running, the ones that say play now. Okay, so up here at the very, very top, I want to look at the longest ago tournament that I entered because it says I got eliminated. And you can see here I earned a third, fourth place, which gave me, and you can see the bubble there that says I get 3 standard packs from this particular tournament that I finished in. So I got 3 packs there, and I got eliminated early before I got to the semifinals. So let's see what happened to me in this tournament here, ID 347 Ace of Bronze, 32 team tournament, and whoever gets to 4 wins first wins the series. So it takes a little while to get in, so I have to exercise patience. There, oh, ouch. I got eliminated in the quarterfinal, and I got swept 4 games to zip. So I might be interested in looking at the Blue Claws here to see what their team makeup is. They made pretty quick work out of me here. They look like a pretty strong team. Let's see how they ended up in the tournament. I'm going to look at the tournament tree. Okay? And I click on the tournament tree tab over here. And it was the Cranberry Crackpots that won the tournament. The Blue Claws that swept me, they got beat 4-3 by the Cepheid Variables from the TBD Friends group. Many times when you see initials like this, that indicates a group of friends that like to play together in perfect team. So the Cepheid Variables and the Cranberry Crackpots went up against each other, and the Crackpots got the 10 packs. The Variables got the 5 packs. Blue Claws ended up getting 3 packs because they got eliminated in the semifinals, but they lost in Game 7. Those are some of the most painful losses, is when you lose in a Game 7, but hardly anything more painful than losing a Game 7 in a quarterfinal. Like if I had gone and gotten 3 wins here and then the Blue Claws got their 4th win, that would have been the most painful to me because it went as long as it could and I got eliminated, and for 3 rounds I got there's about an hour that's invested in each one of these rounds time wise. It takes about an hour to play each one because the simulations are 10 minutes apart. So a 6-game series like this one up here, 4-2, would have taken 6 times 10 minutes, which is an hour. And up here we have another 6 games, 6 times 10 minutes. There's another hour. Then here, 4 times 10 minutes, 40 minutes. So 2 hours and 40 minutes of my time with this team in this tournament got wasted because I ended up getting nothing for it. So those are the ones that really, really hurt. Early eliminations are not quite so painful because I just get out of that tournament and I just start spamming another one to get into another game, because you're allowed up to 3 tournament slots, 2 perfect draft slots. You can have 2 different perfect drafts going on at the same time, and you can have up to 3 and no more than 3 tournaments of any type, whether they be quick, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. So I try to use those 3 tournament slots for spamming quick tournaments like this. Okay, so that having been said, I don't want to overuse that phrase too much, but I really want to see what the Blue Claws look like. I may look at the Cepheid Variables, and I may also look at the tournament winners, the Cranberry Crackpots, because quite frankly, the Blue Claws, okay, they swept me, and I'm not a bad tournament team. They swept me, and they just barely got beat by the Variables. So it could have just as easily been the Blue Claws here. So I'm going to look at perhaps the Blue Claws, maybe the Variables, and perhaps the Crackpots. That gives me 3 decent looking teams that perhaps I can at least take a look at. So first thing I'm going to do is look at the Blue Claws, and I want to note their manager name. Okay, their manager name is Where's Scott. Okay, Where's Scott. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the main tab and click on Perfect Team Universe. This is where you can find out how good these managers are and how many wins they've gotten in the tournaments that they've entered. I base my judgment on that number of tournaments, and you can see it rather easily. go to the Perfect Team Universe, and then in this particular case I have to hit the Universe tab, and then down here, Managers and Rankings. And you can see the last one I took a look at was this Fenster PSU, who I beat in the semifinals of the tournament that I'm now in the finals of, that one that we were looking at in depth. I was looking at them, and they've got 59 tournament wins. And the other team has 5 tournament wins. So whenever I run into these bacon and eggs, it strikes a little bit of fear in my heart. Breiningsville Bombers, they've been cleaning my clock lately. So they're an up-and-coming team, and they are also ones to be kind of, they have to be given some respect. So anyway, what I do is I look at that number of wins, and I know that there's a caveat behind that. The caveat is you don't know what types of tournaments they are and how many tournaments of any given type go into that total of wins, okay? So 59 wins could be like, say, maybe 20 in bronze tournaments, might be another 20 in silver tournaments, might be another 10 in iron tournaments. I have no way of knowing. The only statistic that's revealed to me is right here. It tells me how many total tournament wins they have. And if they have a good number of tournament wins, then that is giving me the cause to look at their team. So Fenster, I did take a look at his team, and I did do some screenshots of his makeup. And I'll show you how to determine what information you need and how you need to save it in order to try and build a good team. So with that, I'm jumping out and taking a look at Where's Scott. Okay, I do the refresh, and there it is, the Barnegat Bay Blue Claws. Okay, he has 9 tournament wins. That isn't a bad number. It's not a bad number at all. But I look for teams that have more than that generally. Okay, so we will back out of there and get back to the tournament tree, and I will look at the Cepheid variables next. No, I'm gonna look at the Cranberry Crackpots next. They won the whole shooting match. Okay, so I'm going to look at them. Their manager is O.B. Scene. So I'm going to go up here and go to the Perfect Team Universe again and hit the Universe tab and Managers and Rankings. And I'm looking for Obscene. Okay, so we're doing a search for him. And he's got two different teams out there. He's got his Obscene Cranberry Crackpots with 36 tournament wins. That's a healthy number. And his other team, the Bucknell Bison, they have 35 tournament wins. So there's 71 wins with this one manager's teams. So this is a team I do want to take a look at and see what's going on with them. Here's what I do next. Go back to that tournament tree, and we go to the Crackpots. We click on them. Now there are 4 different screens that I gather information from, and there are 4 screens that show me the most information that I can see, and I'll explain a little bit more on that as we go along. The first screenshot that I do is of their roster. What 26 cards over here on the left side of the roster screen, showing their actives and the reserves, actives to the left, reserves to the right, you can see that it scrolls a little bit. So I've got 26 slots here, but I can only see 24 of them at a time. So I'm going to do a screenshot of this part right here, and as part of the name of the file that I save, I would say Crackpots Bronze Roster plus 68 Batista, 69 Christensen. Okay, you do the number and the last name. That's what I do. number, last name. 68 Batista, 69 Christensen. If you know the rating number, the overall rating number, then you will be able to find those cards more easily out there in the card shop. Okay, so we know what we're looking for there. So I would take a screenshot of this as it is right now, and I would save it as Crackpot's bronze roster plus 68 Batista, 69 Christensen. Okay, so that's screenshot number 1. Screenshot number 2 shows the pitching. And here's where you can see Batista and Christensen with first names. Okay, do a screenshot of this, because here you can see all of the pitching assignments, who's assigned to start in the rotation and who is playing what role over here in the relief corps. Okay, you can see starting pitching and you can see relief assignments, including you can't see the usage options and you can't see the secondary roles, but you can see the primary role, which is pretty doggone important. Okay, so take a screenshot of this pitching, and I would call that screenshot Crackpot's bronze pitching. Okay, now we go to the lineups and we take screenshots of their lineups, and I don't look at the overview. Don't look at the overview at all. Go to the right-handed pitching and the left-handed pitching lineups. So here, against right-handed pitching, take a screenshot of this screen, and you can see how far they go with their assignments. You can also see pinch hitting and pinch running assignments. This team happens not to use any, which is, they're perfectly well and able and allowed to do. So take a picture of this one. I would call this one Crackpot's bronze versus right hand pitching. Okay, then take a look at the left hand pitching screen, and you got another one you can do the 4th screenshot of. So your 4 screenshots are of the rosters with 2 cards that you need to name explicitly in the save. You've got the pitching, you've got the lineup versus right hand, and the lineup versus left hand. 4 screenshots that you need to hang on to. Now, here is a big deal. Okay, strategy. Watch what happens when I try to look at the strategy of these cranberry crackpots. You cannot see the strategy of a team you have no control over. I'm not allowed to see this. You're not either. So, the 4 things you can see are the roster, the pitching, and the 2 different lineups versus right versus left. So, as you learn the game more, you will be deciding which strategies work best for your way of playing. Okay? So I like to use sabermetric strategy myself, with one major difference. I turn the slider for stealing up so that it's 1 less than the base running slider, okay, on the team level. Okay, that's what I like to do with my tournament team. I don't do on my tournament team, I don't do, oh, wait a minute, look at this. Look at this. I won that 86 tournament that I was in. I'll bet your booties, or bet my booties really, that I swept that team in the finals, and I got 10 packs out of this. I started with 18. I'm now up to 28. Ooh, baby, that's what I love to see. Love to see that. Okay, so anyway, you can see now how I go to look at what another team looks like, and what, or really how they use the cards they have. Now, if you go with the rosters, start with the rosters and check and see what cards you have currently in your own inventory and what cards you do not have currently in your inventory. And you can go out, and this is what I do. if I don't have any given cards, I go to the card shop and try to buy them. Okay? Since these bronze cards are lower tier, they are much less expensive than silver, gold, diamond, or perfect cards. Okay? Let's say, for example, and this is a very good example, and I'll show you how I go about this. Let's say Sam Jones is not in your inventory. You might have some of these other cards. I'm just using Sam Jones as an example. Okay, I'm going to look for 69 Sam Jones in the card shop. So I go to the card shop and I come over here to the search player and I'm looking for Sam Jones. I need to make sure that I don't have any missions that I'm looking at. And there, okay, there's Sad Sam Jones, which is a gold card. And then here is Sam Jones, okay, and it shows it's in green, which means I own him, okay, already. And look at, if you don't have him already, you could buy him currently for 70 perfect points. So if you have those 70 perfect points, go ahead and buy them. You go through that step with every card that you see on the roster that you do not own in your own inventory. Then, once you get those cards, all of them in your inventory, then use the other screenshots to determine how to place them. Use the same starting pitching, the same relief pitching, use the same versus right hand lineup and the same versus left hand lineup. Not any more difficult than that. It's time consuming, yes, but I think you'll find out in the end that it pretty well could be worth it. Myself personally right now, my own team that I'm running right now that's winning fairly consistently, you saw a win happen during the course of the filming of this video. So that would give me, if I go back to the universe and choose myself, just the by the first 5 letters of my manager names that I have in common with all of my teams, I'm going to go with the Gorgo thing, and we're going to search on that. You can see I just picked up my 72nd tournament win. And if you look at the other 2 teams, I've got combined over, well, let's say that's actually 120 tournaments that I have won over the course of this game cycle so far. I've won 120 tournaments, 72 with this team, 36 here, 12 there. So with all of that knowledge in the base, if you ever run into me, feel free to copy my team. But you have to run into me in a tournament first, because I'm not going to show you. That's proprietary information until you get into a tournament and you're playing in one that I'm in. Then feel free to copy and paste away. And that's a term that you'll hear a lot in this type of tournament team building, is copy/paste. Because that's essentially what you're doing. You're copying a team and pasting it into your own. Okay? That's kind of simply how I go about building a tournament team. But my current team is a hybrid. It started out as a copy-paste. But as other nice cards came along, like new cards in the Platinum series that were bronze, and maybe even some that were iron, okay? Right, they come along from time to time. They're going to appear, they're going to show up, and if you buy them, you own them, but they may disappear from the face of the earth. I don't know. I don't know how the Platinum cards are going to work out once you own them. I think maybe the missions concerning those Platinum missions will go away, and the cards may stay. I'm not sure how those Platinums are going to work yet. But limited edition cards, they stay put for the whole time, because the way I think that they presented the Platinum cards was that they had a limited lifespan. And when they said limited lifespan, I'm not sure if that meant the cards themselves or just the missions that they were attached to. So we will see that as time goes on here. But you get the basic idea of what I do. I did a copy paste to begin with, and then as other cards came along that I ended up liking better than some of the ones that I copy pasted, then I replace the ones that I had before with new cards that look more promising. Okay, one good example is let's say there's a pitching card, a platinum pitching card, Tom Sturdivant. Okay, I've had him on and off my team because his performance has kind of wavered back and forth, back and forth. But many teams are using Sturdivant in bronze as a successful pitching card. Okay, so if I do this and search this tournament up here, you can search on a name and it will tell you how many teams in that particular place that you're looking, whether it be a perfect team league or inside of a tournament. I'm looking for Sturdivant. And there he is right there. So I'm going to search for him. And look at all the teams that were playing Tom Sturdivant. There he is for me, okay? All of these teams in the 32-team tournament, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute, it should maybe tell me here, or does it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. There were 14 of the 32 teams, almost half of them that have Sturdivant on their rosters. Okay? So, yeah, the Cepheid Variables had him. And let's see, the Finneytown Flames had him. The Barnegat Bay Blue Claws have him. Okay? Cepheid Variables. And what was the other team? Forget now who it was, but maybe they're not here. But yeah, many of these teams I run into before, and they successfully play that Sturdivant card. So that's one that came along late because it's a platinum. You see from the card bubble there, it is a platinum series card. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping that the cards don't go away, but the missions do, and that way we don't have to go shuffling tournaments around again, tournament roster spots. Kind of like, live cards getting live updated that become available maybe in bronze, and then they get promoted up to a silver plateau, and they're no longer eligible to play bronze tournaments because they're now silver card. So you get the idea. So I can do some searching around for individual cards. I also showed you how I get the information that I use for copying and pasting. So that is in essence the next and possibly final step is number one, okay, identify the type of tournament you want to do. Okay. Number two, enter tournaments. Number three, examine tournaments. Okay. Examine those tournaments. Number four, identify strong teams and managers using the number of tournament wins in the universe managers and rankings tab. Okay. Number five, look at those 4 screens, copy them, get screenshots of those 4 screens. Okay. And then number 6, go out to the card shop and pick up the cards that you need, that you don't already have. And then the 7th and most important step is once you get your team cards together, then you need to make sure that they are activated. The new cards are activated on your roster, and they also need to be in a roster that you can save. And I'll show you a little trick or two that I do sometimes when I'm looking for new cards that I need to add to my team and activate them, say, one at a time. Let's say, no, let's figure out a way to do this, okay? I found out a nice, easy way to activate cards is to use a tournament that you're currently in that's in the same format as the team that you're doing the copy paste for, okay? They all need to be in the same format. So let's go out and we will go look at some of the tournaments that I'm currently in, and I'll show you the steps that I go through. to activate cards. I won a tournament, so I've already picked up 10 packs. And I already had a semifinal loss earlier today, so I have 13 tournament packs so far today. So I'm going to look at the ones down here at the bottom that I'm currently in. Wait a minute, maybe it's up here. Maybe it's up here. Where is it? They got spread all over creation. Okay, so let's go. We're going to look at this one right here and let this go back up to the top, I hope. Okay. So I'm in round 1 of this tournament and it's tied up 2-2. Now let's just say if I go to the collection here, this is showing me cards that I currently own and their activation or inactivation status. Okay, so I need to pull it up to here, and it says here in this other button here, it's looking at eligible only cards for this tournament that I'm in, which is going to be bronze and below, which includes iron. Now let's say, for example, that this Willie Adamas card is one that I want to activate. Okay, so I go ahead and activate it, and there it is, and then I do a submit team. Okay, so that makes this activation part of the team overall structure. Then I go here to manage my roster, and I go to do a roster export. Okay, export roster to file, because this is an active tournament. It's not going to allow me to import anything, so I export it to a name that I want. Okay, I export it to a name that I want, and that I might say slash or dash activate at the end, which means it's an activation roster save, not an active roster stage. If you see what I'm saying, I haven't activated any cards yet. I'm sorry, I haven't made them part of my active roster yet. I have activated them, but as I add them in here and activate them, I have to wait until another tournament opens up so that I can take them from the left or from the right side from my reserve roster. And if you look here, I'm going to see there's Willie Adamas. After I activated him, he appears in my roster, and he is going to be there as long as this submit is still good and the export is still good that I just did, or just pretended to do. So later on, when you go to start a new tournament and you're in the set roster stage, you can decide which card you're going to take out over here, probably the shortstop card. In this case, you can see why I wouldn't do this in real life, because Ozzie Smith is my current shortstop, and there's no way in holy hell I'm going to put Willie Adamas in for Ozzie Smith, okay? Ozzie's staying in there. So, but Ozzie's the only shortstop that I got, so I'd have to pull him out and pull Willie over. If that's that's the mechanism you'd need to use for whatever card you're doing. You have to activate it, submit the team, export the roster, and then your next time you go to set a new roster in a fresh new tournament, then you can bring the cards over and trade them out for whatever you want to take out of your live team. And once you get that done, then you submit the team again, do another export, and export it to another name that is that it doesn't have the word activate in it, so that you know that it's going to be a live roster name. Use whatever export name makes sense to you. So as long as it's not that activate one, that's like an interim step that I do just to save. It's like a placeholder, if you will. I used it as a placeholder to hold Willie Adamas right there where I wanted him on the reserve roster, so that I could later move him over to the live team when it came time to build a new tournament team. Okay? And you don't build a new tournament team for the final steps until you actually enter another tournament. Okay? During the set roster stage is where you can do card swapping. So, in a nutshell, that is the set of ingredients that go into making your dream tournament team. And many other people like to use different strategies. They don't like the copy paste. There are actually some folks that are so proud of their own card sharking abilities and their own card sharpness, if you will, that they know what they want in a card, and they know that this card would work well with that card, would work well with this card. They have a little bit more OOTP smarts than this guy does. So I let those folks do the heavy lifting, and then I do the copy paste later if I run into one that's a buzzsaw and just chews me up and spits me out like nothing they ever saw before. I mean, like, okay, I'm gone. And they go on and win the tournament and win the tournament and win the tournament. So I'm nothing to them because I'm a copy paster, and they like to do it based on card knowledge. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with the way I do it either. I found it to be successful in quite a little set of tournaments over a couple or three game cycles. Since Perfect Team 21, this copy paste strategy has worked for me. Okay, last game cycle that I did a complete set of tournaments in, Perfect Team 21, I had over 200 tournament wins on that team. Okay, 200 times 10, which is how many packs you get from a tournament win. That was 2,000 packs. 2,000 times 6 cards per pack, that's 12,000 cards that I won just from tournaments. But here's the kicker. That only has the wins. It doesn't count how many times I got 5 packs for second place. It doesn't count how many times I got 3 packs for a semifinal loss. It doesn't count any other way of getting packs. Mission rewards, login rewards, anything that can give you a pack doesn't count into that. That means more and more and more packs that you have in your arsenal to help you build the best team that you can get for your main perfect team. And that's why I go for packs by spamming quick tournaments, because those packs are the lifeblood of my team. They give me the perfect points that I need to build up a treasury, buy the cards that I want, finish the missions that I want. So I cannot recommend any higher strategy for trying to get to success the quickest way possible. This way, okay? So I'm in a live tournament, and the latest sim has just happened, and I was tied up 2-2 in round 1. Let's see how I did in game 5. Hopefully it's a win. And it's a win for me, okay? I won this game 6-1 against the Luna Landers, so now I'm 1 game away from moving on to round number 2. So let's go ahead and consider getting ready to bring this to a halt, okay? So folks, if you have any questions or any comments to make, please put them in the comments section below this video. It will be in YouTube after all. And if you'd like to communicate directly with me, you can see from this particular screen, you can see my socials up there. I am in Discord at Gorgo 2005. You can DM me there. There's my Twitch ID, which is the same. There's my Twitter ID, which is the same. And there's my YouTube ID, which is the same. So you can try to contact me through any of those venues, and I will be more than glad to answer as quickly and as best as I can. Now, I have to give credit to one of my Twitter followers who did communicate to me through Twitter and said he was looking at a tournament building video in Twitch that I had up as a video on demand, but it disappeared because I forgot to move it to YouTube. So anyway, he was the inspiration for the creation of this particular video. And what I'm going to do is once I get this uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to go straight back to Twitter and get in touch with this dude and say, the video that you want to see is now on YouTube. Okay? So anyway, without further ado, thank you one and all for coming in and viewing this. And if you have any questions, comments, whatever, please stick them in the comments down below or communicate directly to me or with me either in Discord, in Twitch, where you can whisper me if I'm in a stream that you're in, or tweet at me in Twitter, or comment to me somehow through YouTube. Okay? So thanks again, everybody. Take care, and we will see you around the tournament trails. Okay? Good luck, all of you. Take care now. Bye-bye.